was a little unnerving.
Hello everyone, Brian here on Two Wheels. Like everybody else like to continue or start with their video. I was lucky enough to go out to Malibu, California for the press release of Aprilia's newest release, or newest offering, the Tuono 660. It was a great trip on some great roads, and I have some great footage for you to see. After the video's over, I'll give you my final thoughts and let you know what I think about the machine as a whole. But for now, just enjoy the footage. Alright everybody, here we are in beautiful Malibu, California with our Aprilia RS660 lineup. This bike comes in 3 color schemes. I do believe we're looking at the black and silver, the silver and black, which is just reverse of the black and silver, and then we come all the way over here to the acid gold color. This is probably my favorite of the bunch. We also have an occasional mixed into the group. We have an RS660 over here in the blue, purple, and not sure what this color scheme is here. We have a couple control riders that are with us, and they're on the 660s only because there are only 5 Tuonos in the Northeast right now, and I'm lucky enough to be riding one of these bikes. When I got on my bike this afternoon or this morning, the clock only showed 291 miles on it. So these are brand new, out of the box. Super excited to ride these roads on these bikes for the day. We're going to bring you along. We're going to show you everything we can and give you as much information as we can about these bikes to kind of help you make a decision whether this should be in your stable or not. So enjoy, and we'll be talking to you soon.
All right, so this is going to be our first of a few canyon runs here. So I want to get some early ones recorded, and then maybe later on in the day we'll get some other canyon runs done after I've gotten a little bit more used to the machine. Pretty excited for this. Looks like we're going to make a couple runs up and down this little valley right here. We're going to come around this bend and it's going to loop back around up this road, and then up there's another sweeper comes back around. We're going to meet on the other side of that hill, then run it back down again. Should be pretty interesting. 291 miles on this fantastically brand new machine, which is only one of 5 in North America currently. So if that doesn't pucker your butthole a little bit about making sure you don't wind up on the ground, I don't think anything else would. So I may as well talk about it a little bit while I have you out here instead of just wasting battery. I have 3 different ride modes. There's a commute, a dynamic, and an individual. The individual is customizable, whereas the commute and the dynamic are preset and cannot be changed. The only thing that you can change on these is whether you turn on or off the traction control. I don't think I'm going to do that today. So, all right, off we go. Come on, cyclist, there you go. Woo. So the suspension is a bit soft for me. I am a little heavy. So that was a little unnerving, but not too bad. Okay, so here we are, cruising along the Pacific Ocean in Malibu, California on the Tuono 660 press release ride. Just to give you a little bit of information about our our Aprilia Tuono 660 here. We're looking at a 660cc parallel twin making 100 horsepower, which is a fairly stout number for the displacement of the engine that we have here. It is just a hair over 400 pounds wet with a full tank of fuel, which makes it very nimble, agile, and maneuverable. It has a nice light steering. It is super flickable and easy to ride. It is a pretty nice power plant for the bike, and the handling definitely has that race-inspired feel that you would expect from an Aprilia product. The ergonomics are real nice. The distance from seat to handlebars is fairly close, so you have a little bit more of an upright seating position. It's got a pretty decent rise on the triple clamp for the handlebars. The bars don't have too much of a bend to them, but the riser does everything pretty much that you need for it. You got a nice upright riding position, a good width on the bars. You can get a good amount of torque on them, so you can kind of have some really nice control over it. The seat height, I don't have an actual number for you. I can get that number for you at a later time, but seat height is not too high. I am only 5'6" with a extraordinarily short inseam, and I'm pretty comfortable on this machine at stoplights, or you know, we've had to stop a few times during our ride to get some to do some photography stuff, and to run a couple of small canyon roads back and forth a few times. So pretty cool setup, and it's been very comfortable, very easy to ride. I actually don't know if I would purchase one of these for myself, but it does, for me, unfortunately, seems a little lacking, although I think my current bike makes a little bit too much power. Look at that view. Look at the view. Pretty spectacular ride now here. The weather is beautiful. There's a slight breeze. The sun is peekabooing in and out from behind the clouds. It is a great day for a ride. So our Aprilia is going to come in 3 colors. There is a silver over black, and then there is a black over silver. They're both a 2-tone gloss matte finish. That is the base paint scheme. There is a premium paint scheme, which is the acid gold, which is I think a $300 or $400 premium for that paint setup. There are also a couple of factory offerings for some pretty important accessories. One of them is the up-down shifter, which is currently installed on this bike that I'm riding today. The other is you can purchase separately a 6-axis IMU. Now, what the IMU is going to do for you is going to allow for cornering ABS, cornering traction control, and it also allows for much better adjustability within the riding programs. You'll be able to make changes between the traction control and the wheelie control independently of each other with the 6-axis IMU. Without it, the traction control and wheelie control are linked together, and you cannot control one without the other. This kind of lane splitting I can be down with. Suspension on this bike is very nice and light and nimble. Unfortunately for me, it is not quite stout enough to handle my body weight. I would have to make this bike super comfortable for me and super stable for me, I'd have to add a heavier front fork spring and rear shock spring to stiffen up the suspension or enough that this thing doesn't get a little squirrely on me in the turns. It is a little soft for me, so making any corrections in the turns upsets the suspension pretty badly and can make for a little bit of a handful of a ride. But I don't know if you noticed, but the most of the gentlemen out in front of me riding this machine are your average size rider, probably anywhere from 160 to 180 pounds, and I haven't really heard anybody else say anything about the suspension being too soft for them. So I'm guessing that is a round guy issue, and just something that you got to learn how to deal with when you're, you know, when you're short and overweight. Motorcycling has its difficulties at that point that fortunately you can deal with, but it does take a little bit of extra effort. This bike also comes with cruise control, and it is, for lack of a better term, not quite, but it is adaptive cruise control, meaning that once you have the cruise set, you can still use the throttle to throttle up and pass someone, and when you get back off the throttle, it comes back down to the previously set speed. So pretty cool. Besides that, the cruise control button, which is right here on the handlebar, will allow for you to also toggle up and toggle down speed once you're in the cruise control. So you set your cruise at 40 miles an hour, you're hanging out with your buddy and rolling down the road, and he keeps pulling away from you, or you keep pulling away from him, and you can 1 mile an hour at a time click through and set your speed while the cruise is already set right from this thumb switch. You don't have to cancel and reset. It's kind of a nice touch to it. So this bike definitely has a nice everyday use type of feel. It is smooth, comfortable. It's not too loud. It's not too obtrusive, really, in any manner. It's you know, simple to ride, easy to handle at traffic lights. Not quite sure what the EPA fuel numbers are going to be on this thing, but I would have to imagine that if you were to ride it a little bit easier than we've been riding them all day today, you would get some decent fuel economy out of such a power plant.
There goes all the action footage of my Malibu canyon carving day on the Tuono 660. Just to give you a roundabout of the day, the location was unbelievable, the weather was fantastic, and the bike was just as good as everything else around me. Power to weight ratio, fantastic. Seating position, super comfy for a long day ride. I don't think I got a chance to show you in the video, but I did get to do some highway riding on it later on in the day. Great highway ride as well, stable on the highway. There really isn't a whole lot that I could or want to change on that machine to make it any better than it already is. So if you're in the market, you're looking at about $10,500 for the base model, $10,700 for the acid gold, which is a premium paint color. If that's in your wheelhouse, if that's in your ballpark, it's definitely worth taking a look at. I would be really surprised if you can find something that's going to do better for you in that price point. So if you are interested in the Aprilia and it's something that you might consider for your stable, if you pre-order your Tuono 660, we do have a link that we're going to put in the description down below. They're offering a $250 accessory voucher. I don't know if it's comes in the form of a card or if it's just something that you get to spend while you're at the dealership, but it is a nice incentive. $250 is going to get you halfway through the electronics upgrades that are available on that machine, so great way to get you started moving forward on a great machine. So we're not paid by Aprilia, we don't get any kickbacks from Aprilia or the Piaggio group in any way. We were lucky enough to be chosen to go out and ride the bike and to give you our opinion. So that's the ending of our video here today, guys. If you like this type of content, please click the like button and subscribe. Outro crew, tell me which color scheme you like best out of the bikes. I'm preferential to the black. There's also the silver and the acid gold. Don't forget to put the OC in your comment, and we'll know it's you guys. Thanks. Have a good day. Have a good afternoon.
Brian, you chose the wrong answer.
Have a good evening.
Acid gold was the right answer for the color. You're wrong.
Your opinion is incorrect.
Your opinion is incorrect.